Yet. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. After a long time, I'm happy, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the African Young Leaders Foundation Youth Dialogue Series for this Sunday. And it's always an honor for me to host you. And my name is Mary Joyce Takali, the African Young Leaders Foundation Deputy Executive Secretary, always your host and moderator. Our theme this time around is purpose over popularity, personal branding that matters. We live in a world where trends move very fast, where likes and following and viral moments on social media that we see seem to define success, yes? But now today we want to see how can you be able to build that brand without following the so many likes, there's so many comments, you know, or without, how can you be able to build a brand with purpose in a world where we see people celebrating appearances over substance? So it's my honor that in the house today I have two phenomenal women, Miss Juanita, Juanita Gyamfi from Ghana, and Miss Tanaka Mugova from Zimbabwe. You're very welcome, and I would like to invite you to introduce yourself so we can get to know you better before we go ahead. So, Miss Juanita, the microphone is yours. Miss Juanita, you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Hi, everyone. My name is Miss Juanita Gyamfi. I am a brand and communications specialist. On the side, I do a lot of youth engagements. I am also the founder of Mind Menders Alliance. We're an organization that we focus on training the youth on personal branding, public speaking, corporate training. And we actually have service where we offer mentorship by connecting you, the youth, with other world leaders that can just tell you and guide you on your career path. So we're open to helping the youth today. And so that's it about me.
Thank you so much. You're very welcome. It will be very, it's a pleasure that we'll learn from you tonight. And we can't wait to hear what you have for us. Mr. Naka, please kindly go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, and good evening to everyone who has joined us today. My name is Tanaka Mugova, and I'm the National President of the African Young Leaders Foundation, and I'm also the founder of a women-led organization that is called Young Women Empowerment Forum, that is aimed at empowering women to stand firm and to be less dependent. And I'm also a brand ambassador at the School of Public Speaking, which is why I'm here today to help you on how you can build your personal brand, how you can be visible and show people the work that you're doing. So I hope you'll be able to learn and engage with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're most welcome, Mr. Naka. We can't wait to hear from you too. So driving the conversation towards personal branding, I've mentioned that we live in a world where success seems to be determined by viral moments and trending. We've seen how people trend online, but we want to take a step back and understand or hear from you what truly matters, because our theme is about building a brand with purpose. We want to discover how each one of us, including me, can build that personal brand that is rooted in purpose, their values, but also aiming at creating long-term impact. So I invite each and every one of you who's watching us on YouTube to listen, to learn, but also ask questions, and also go ahead and follow our panelists and me on all social media platforms. You'll be able to learn a lot of things. I've personally been following them on all the social media platforms, and I believe they're the right people. And I believe this topic or theme is timely in this era. So Miss Juanita, I would like to start with you. What is personal branding? What is a brand in the first place? We want to put our theme into perspective, because most times when you hear about personal branding, someone would say you are talking about an influencer. Someone would say you're talking about a celebrity. So what is personal branding in this day and era, and why is it important for us as young people, especially in this world that is driven by social media? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. I would try to make it very easy so that we don't really go about with most of the jargons that have been said. Personal branding really isn't, I'll try and use a logo, for instance. If you have a logo, that is not a brand, it's a logo. So what that logo represents, it's what the brand is. Maybe you're somebody that you offer expertise in this area. You do a lot of special gifts, you are quick, you are trustworthy, you have your numbers, you do the work. The values that you have, what makes it a brand. Say, for example, I'd say I'm somebody that I am good with public speaking, or I actually train young people to do something. Now, the values that I hold, how I'm able to bring results from what I do, the numbers, the testimonials, and who you are when basically people are not around to talk about you is what your brand is. Nowadays, I think it's very hard for people to stick with a brand. I think a lot of times we're trying to copy what we see or what we admire or what we see is trending or what we see is getting the likes and the numbers. And people really confuse that. It's actually not their fault. It's how the way things are set now. Because you can have a brand, you can have a vision, you can have a mission, you can have a solid value, but you are not really getting the attention that you think such a value should carry or such a value should draw. And so you end up probably looking outside and trying to tweak who you are just to fit into a different narrative. So in simple terms, your brand is basically who you are when you are not in the room, who people say you are. Are you somebody that does the work? Are you somebody that's trustworthy? Are you somebody that's credible? Are you somebody that delivers? Are you somebody that's punctual? Are you somebody that you just, whatever you tell people you are, we need to see it and not just hear it. We need to feel it. We need to have a stand to say that she is who she says it is in every room that she walks into. Now, what makes it difficult is sometimes it's very hard, like I said in the beginning, for you to know what your brand is yourself, because you might end up switching personalities with your brand. There are people that are very corporate. I'll take myself for example. I'm a very corporate person. I have visions, I have values, but when I go into different spaces, I can have fun, but my values stay the same. If I am honest, I am honest. If I'm somebody that I deliver, but my personality might switch into different places. In the workplace, I might not be the most jovial or hyper, but maybe with my friends at a party, I might be the most jovial or hyper, but it doesn't change my values. And sometimes people actually blend it with different spaces. Maybe on TikTok, you are somebody that's like, you talk about something, you don't give us the same presence that you have. And maybe on Instagram, you become somebody that's also very different. You're not who you say you are. Basically, do not talk. Let us see you for who you are. Let us experience you for who you are. Let us be the ones to actually understand that who you are is consistent. You're not this today and you're that tomorrow. You stay who you are with or without the numbers, with or without people actually commenting or liking about what you do. And then I don't know if I'm talking too much for the number of minutes for this question, but with time, I will try my best to explain further how you can actually like notice and know that this is my brand and this is what I stand by. Is basically your values and who you are when you're not in the room.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for that clear and powerful explanation. I had you hint a little bit of authenticity, because you are saying that you have to be authentic. You don't have to have a curated online presence, yet you are different in person. And I think that's something that speaks to me. We always and usually see people we see a lot of beautiful things on social media, but they're different people when you find them. That's why on my LinkedIn, I would say I'm a full-time women rights activist, offline or online. Yeah, so I think that's something that has spoken to me so much. And the other thing you are saying is that you might switch personalities, but your values will remain the same. If you're honest, you have to remain honest. But at different times, it might require you to switch your brand or your personality. So thank you so much for that. Now that we understand the foundation of our theme, I would like us to see the building blocks, and I would like to take the conversation towards those important things that we are supposed to have if we're building a personal brand. In your view, as a communication specialist, what are those components that make a good personal, like what are those components that can make a good personal brand truly effective and still authentic, like how you are trying to talk about it in the first place?
I like the second question because then it brings me back to actually it forming the foundations as well. I'll talk about three things. I might mix it, but I would say clarity, credibility, and consistency. Now, you have to be very consistent. If you say this is who you are, this is what you bring to the table, this is what your skills are, this is what your services are, this is what you can do, and this is what you can offer. You have to be very consistent with that. I'll use Instagram, for example. If you start an Instagram page and then you present yourself as a public speaker or somebody that offers services in personal branding, or you train people in something, you can start, but if you're not consistent with it, and I'm a normal viewer and I come to your page and I see lack of clarity, lack of consistency, it's going to be very, very hard for me to trust your brand because you don't really follow through with what you say you do. You say you teach this and that, but tomorrow you're actually switching up and you're teaching different things that are all over the place. You have to be very consistent. If you're consistent, say you have a brand, you want to sell something, you want people to know that you have maybe fresh juice, you have to let us know that it's fresh juice. You don't get up one day and start saying, oh, I've actually started I'm blending different things and it's not fresh anymore. Let us come and see what you say you do so that we might not be able to ask you personally, but by seeing it, we are seeing what you're doing. We might not hear you, but we'll trust it. So one thing is for sure, be very consistent with who you are. If you're somebody that you stick with a value, make sure that it flows through everything and anything you do. Be consistent. Second, clarity. Make sure that it is clear with what you do. Don't beat about the bush. Don't say today something and then you change it to something. Make it very clear. How clear it is makes it easy for us to trust you and believe you and understand where you are, what you're doing, and where you see yourself to go. It allows us to follow your journey. It allows us to follow your story. It makes it easy for us to understand what you stand for. So be clear. This is who I am. This is what I can give you. This is what coming into my circle would help you with. This is who I am, whether you're watching or not. You have to make it clear, okay? You don't owe everyone an explanation, but if you are putting yourself out there, make it clear. Let us understand who you are without having to ask you in person. And the last thing I'm going to say is credibility. Let your work speak for itself. You don't need to talk too much. Let people also have your experience. Okay, say for example, you sell something. I always use these things as an example. If you are about boasting that I make the best juice, but people are not really trying the juice. Nobody's actually telling you that you are making the best juice. You are the one that's just taking it up to yourself to say, I make the best juice. Be credible. Let people experience you. Let people experience your goods, your services. Let them speak for you. Okay, you don't have to do all the talking. A lot of people don't do the talking. Their brand and their services and their skills does the talking for them. And with time, you grow into it. This doesn't mean you're going to immediately amass followers and amass customers and amass all the likes in a short time span. It takes time for everything to grow. As long as you stick with your values, the right people will find you, the right people will need you, and with time, everything that you do will be authentic and genuine. So you don't have fake followers, fake likes, or fake comments. You have real people that real people will trust when they say that. Trust this guy or trust this lady. She is solid. She delivers. Her goods are good. Or she makes up when she promises to do something. So those three things: be clear, be consistent, and be credible. Let your work speak for itself. Those are the three things I would say.
Wow. I don't want to repeat, but there is something that you said. This is like you have to say this is who you are, whether someone is watching or not. I think I experienced this a lot on Facebook. You know, Facebook, there is a way now Facebook is like, we don't want to deal with Facebook anymore. So we left it for those people. I
Yeah.
guess you know what I mean. So I have to, like, I'm so conflicted. I have to keep showing people that this is who I am, even when they're not watching.
Yeah.
You know, you put something and then you get only 2 likes.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
very
are like,
hard.
okay, it's fine, it's fine. This, I'm still showing you who I am. So I think that is something that is really speaks to me. Thank you so much,
I
Miss
don't know if this
Juanita.
is the part where you said something, I just want to chip in something. I think it's a little thing that people do. You know, sometimes you start a product or you start a service, and then maybe you do a lot of planning and then you put it out there. Then you get like a lot of likes and followers and people are interested. And then when you do it again, it's like people are not really as interested as they were in the first place or the first time you said it. So you might start to think to yourself, oh, maybe people don't really like it. Then you now start questioning yourself. That is also something that affects people's brands. So when it starts happening and you start not believing in your brand and you start stopping or slowing with the motivation you had, you are killing your brand. So whether people are watching, whether they are liking, we will actually turn around and come and find out. This girl said she did something. Let me go and see how far that thing is going. Now, when I come and I see you stopped, oh, you were not consistent. That was not a real brand. It was not true purpose. You were performing. So now you are not commenting or applauding or watching, you have stopped. So that is why I always stick to where people are watching or they are not watching, continue doing it. We will come around and look for it.
Yes. Oh my God. I wish I wasn't the moderator. I would give my story, my personal branding journey, but that will be when you have hosted me. I want to go to Miss Tanaka. Miss Tanaka, I would like to hear your branding journey because I've also been following you on LinkedIn and you're doing some amazing work, and which is very, very commendable. I would like to me and the audience would like to hear how you personally discovered your purpose, because our theme is about the brand with purpose. How did you discover your purpose? Sometimes it's very hard. The other time I was asking my friend, what do you want to be known for? And they didn't know, which was still okay because there's always that time of discovery. But can you at least help someone who is listening in or watching and would like to discover themselves? How did you discover yours? But also, how has that shaped your personal brand? Mr. Naka. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mary. So, it's been a long journey to discovering my purpose, honestly speaking. If I tell you that I started as a musician, you'll be shocked. So it's a long journey where you will be going through a lot, trying a lot of things, not knowing which one is right, what should I do. But then one thing that I did, I joined this other organization that is called Ignite Youth Organization, which also helps young people to discover their purpose and to find out who they are. And through that organization, I would say with their programs, I was able to discover my purpose. And not only that, I think when we are talking about purpose, we should not leave God out of the circle because it is Him that gives us purpose in this life. So the other thing that I did was to pray, to say, God, I'm doing a lot of things which do not have any direction. What exactly am I created for? What am I supposed to do on this earth? Because there's only one Tanaka, and if that Tanaka doesn't do what she was created to do, you're cheating the world. So I was like, let me invest my time in this and ask God what exactly I'm meant to do. And the other thing is to self-reflect. You just have to understand what you like, what are your weaknesses, what goes to your heart. To say, if you see a child being beaten, how do you feel? If you see a young woman being harassed, how do you feel? So there are those things that we ignore that speaks to us inside our hearts. To say, you know what, in my life, it hurts me to see this girl being treated this way. And that is your purpose. You know, there's something inside you that speaks to you to say, if this is happening, I don't like it. If it's music, if it's abuse, if it's anything. And some people tend to ignore what their heart is trying to speak to them and end up going the wrong direction. So to young people and to our listeners, I would say they need to listen themselves and listen to what their heart is speaking to them, because that's the only way you can realize your purpose. And I realized that I was most alive when I was helping young people, especially, and young women, especially those who feel forgotten, stuck, and those who struggles with financial stability. It was heartbreaking for me to witness such things happening in our country. And I was like, I think I should focus on this. I should take my time and help these young women to at least discover their own purposes and live lives that are meaningful and that speaks to their own purposes. So in the end, I discovered that I loved women. I had to do something to make sure that women are empowered. I had to do something to make sure that women knows their rights and they can stand firm when it comes to their personal branding and their own rights. And here's the truth: you can't brand something that isn't true to who you are. Because a lot of people try so hard. They try each and every day to say, I'm doing this. Why is it not working? Because it's not who you are. You are trying the wrong things. You have to sit down, you have to understand what really matters and what your purpose is. And if you go with your purpose, I tell you, people will start coming to you because that's your thing. And if anyone else do it, people will not follow that person. You will see there are other people that start something and it just blooms and you'll be like, how did this person bloom and I was doing this for 5 years? Because it's their purpose. You need to find your own purpose for you to grow. Because as long as you're pushing something that is not yours or something that is not destined to be yours, I would say you will be going nowhere. You need to sit down, you need to reflect, you need to pray, you need to do a lot for you to discover your purpose. So I would say that it's a long journey and it takes you as an individual to commit and to sit down and say, I need to find out my purpose. Otherwise, you live your whole life miserable, trying everything and not being happy, not being satisfied. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Naka. And you emphasize so much about understanding or reflecting so that you can be able to understand your purpose. And from what I get from your submission is that we need commitment. So to everyone who is viewing us on YouTube, I'd like you to take time and think about at least 3 words that can describe what you want your brand to represent or what your purpose is. And I think this will help you a lot because your brand is not about how many people know your name, but how well you've lived your truth. From the conversations that we've had from the very first questions up to now, I think it's all about your values. And from Mr. Naka's journey, Mr. Naka, please, thank you so much for sharing your journey. It's really, truly, truly inspiring to see how purpose can shape someone's influence. So speaking of purpose, Miss Juanita, I would like to come back to you because today we are emphasizing purpose. But hearing from Mr. Naka's personal branding journey, how can young people like me or somebody else who's listening align their brand with their purpose rather than chasing what is trending? I usually see on Twitter, actually, me and my friends, we usually talk about Twitter. Twitter is really hard to penetrate. It's really hard to penetrate. Like if you're putting serious things like the things that we do, me and you, online, on Twitter, it's hard to pull off those kind of following and all comments. But if someone comes and then they put a naked picture, oh my God, you don't know the traction that they will get. But anyway, to go away from that, Miss Juanita, how can we align our brand with the purpose that we chosen or with the purpose that God has chosen for us, as Mr. Naka continues saying? Let's talk about that.
I think I like the question and I also like Mr. Naka's contribution because a lot of things she said really reflects with my journey as well. So big ups to you. I'm so happy to have you with me today.
Can we hear your journey? Can we hear your journey? Briefly.
Tanaka, thank you. I have also had a very similar journey. I have to be honest. More than often, I do find myself questioning, okay, where am I really going? I think we all don't have the answers to what the future holds or the answers to how things are going to unfold. What we only know is what we have now and how much we are willing to make use of it, okay? I have also been someone that I have struggled with figuring out what my true purpose is because I am somebody that I have a lot of gifts or talents or interests in multiple areas, and it was very hard for me to stick with one. But I realized that, just as she said, I found a lot of joy in sharing knowledge, sharing what I've known, what I've experienced, what has helped. And with time, I realized that a lot of people were literally paying attention to me. So it made me understand that there was value with what I was doing, and it made me feel good. And with time, it didn't feel tiring. It felt like I might do my job, but then this one kind of fuels me. It feeds into my soul. It makes me alive again. So then I realized, okay, this is something I'm going to do forever, whether I am being called to speak or not. And so when that happened, I always told myself that, okay, now I have found my purpose. But back to your question, and how do the young people find their purpose and align it with your brand? I think one thing you should stick with is knowing your why. Like Mr. Naka said, you should know why you are doing something. Are you doing it because you want people to think this is who you are, or this is actually who you are from the bottom of your heart? There are people that are performing a lot of times, and with time, it only makes it obvious for us to see that you're performing, but it's not really who you are. I'm also a Christian, so I believe in praying. I believe in self-reflection. I believe in journaling. I believe in literally taking time to actually understand yourself, because if you don't know yourself, you really can't let the world know who you are. If you don't know yourself, you can't communicate that. But always make sure that whatever you choose to do or choose to become, you have a strong why. You have a why that aligns with you. And it has nothing. Say, for example, I always use social media because nowadays it's one of the ways that people use to communicate themselves, their brands, their services, their skills. So maybe I might be using a lot of social media examples, but bear with me today. So your why, say, for example, you say that you are someone that, again, you're a consultant. Now, why are you consulting? Why do you think you have what it takes? What do you carry? Okay. Are you just doing it because you realize that a lot of people are doing this and making money off of it? And so you feel like you're somebody that you can speak with, so you might be able to deceive a lot of people by just like having a fake facade and just talking? Or you're somebody that naturally have fulfillment in what you're doing. It makes you happy. You have come to a realization that this is for you. Now, there's a very thin line between finding out and actually living in the truth. Sometimes you would really have some skills in it. You might have some interest in it because maybe you're surrounded by people that do that, or you have literally learned about it, or somebody has taught you something, or you went to school for it. You might go to school for, say, being a doctor, but you might end up being a public speaker, or you might end up being a fashion designer. And that is why sometimes people tell you the stories about who they think they were in the past and who they are. You can tell there's a big difference. So not to say much about it, because I believe this is just an addition to what Mr. Naka said. You have to do the reflection. You have to figure out what works for you, not what you think people want to see, not what you think would make people like you, not what you think would make people want to come to you, but who you want people to know you as. Then, like again, I said, the right people, the real people will align and everything will move on. So know your why. Why am I posting this picture? Why am I making this video? Why am I offering these services? Is it to make money or to actually solve a problem? Is it to influence or to actually send a message? Why are you doing what you say you're doing? What is your purpose? That's what I can say about that.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing for sure. Thank you. The biggest thing that I've got is understand your why, and it's up to you. Do you want to build for purpose, or are you seeking popularity? And that's what I get from you in your conversation. But I'd like to also ask our audience to reflect: is what they're doing aligned with what they want, or what they are, or what they care about? So I think that's something to ponder about. Moving on, our theme was about talking about going beyond the surface. And now that we've shifted from the surface to now speaking substance or building a brand for purpose, Mr. Naka, I would like to come to you. This next question is yours. Like, as we grow, you realize that maybe our purpose and interest will shift or will evolve, because I didn't know that I would be here speaking or hosting this dialogue. I didn't know that I would even be passionate about speaking itself in the first place. So I'm this person who has been building my brand, and if it so happens that maybe my interests have changed or my purpose has changed or it has evolved, how can I be able to build that personal brand that can evolve with my growth? Because now, for example, take an example, I am a youth and women rights activist, but I'll not be young. There was a time when I'll not be young anymore. So it means I'll have to shift from just being a women rights activist. So if you advise me and the other people who are still conflicted like me, how can we ensure that our personal brand grows with us rather than limiting us at times? Mr. Naka.
Yes, thank you, Mary. Just to support on what Juanita was saying, I think it's important that you know your why. Because if you keep pushing things that you don't know why you are doing it, you need to understand why you are doing what you're doing. And to answer your question, I think a lot of people have discovered their purpose at 50, at 60, and it's not a bad thing. It takes time, and you don't have to give up on what you were doing just because you're now 60. Now you understand your purpose. It's never too late. The good thing is that you've understood your purpose and you found out what exactly it is. And to young people that are struggling, I know you can be struggling with either you want to be a nurse, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be, just keep trying and keep reflecting on yourself to understand why you want to do something. Before you do anything, write down, why do I want to do this? Does this speaks to me? Am I doing it because people are doing it, or am I doing it because of my family? Am I doing it because of my friends? You need to understand why you're doing something before you start doing it. And also, you need to start by being open to learning and changing. Because I know young people these days are not open to learn. They just want to be themselves, doing what's trending. But I would advise that to be open to learning, be open to listen to people from their experience, how they have discovered their purpose, so that you can know the journey to discovering your own purpose. And don't feel pressure to stay in one lane. Maybe today you're a poetry, but tomorrow you might become a youth advocate, an entrepreneur, even a public speaker. That's still fine. But your brain should reflect on your values and your vision. What exactly do you vision for the next 10 years? Who do you want to become? What impact do you want to leave? One question you should always ask yourself is, when I die, what what are people supposed to remember of me? What legacy do you want to leave on this earth when you die? That's one question you should ask yourself, and sit down and write down, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want people to remember me for doing this. And you also need to share your journey, what you're learning, what you're trying, what you're passionate about. That way, people can connect with your evolution and not just your level. Because you find out that a lot of people are doing things because it's what everyone else is doing, or it's what's giving them money, or it is what is popular these days. But rather, you should do things because you are passionate about it. You feel like you are supposed to do it, not because you want money. There are people always asking me, why do you like volunteering so much? I'm like, guys, I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because I love doing it. I'm passionate about it. I can't be sitting at home just because someone is not paying me to do what I'm passionate about. So as you find your purpose, you find out that you don't have to be pushed. You push yourself, you do it willingly, not being forced by anyone. So I would submit that. Thank you, Mary.
Wow, I think I've also been asked the same question because I really love giving back, and not for sure, but because this is what I want and it makes me feel good. It's really fulfilling to give someone help if you see that they need the help more than you. So we have the same issue, but it's always okay. I just do what I do because, like you've told us that if you really found your purpose, you don't have to be pushed. And when you mention about sharing your journey, because I heard you say something about sharing your journey, and one of the most important tools of personal branding would be storytelling. We usually see for LinkedIn. I'm sorry, I use a lot of LinkedIn because I think it has a lot to do with personal branding, but we usually see for telling stories. I was in Massachusetts, then I crossed to where, this and that. And you read the whole story, and then you are like, wow, so much is happening in this person's life. So as we are talking about storytelling, what role does storytelling play in the first place as far as personal branding is concerned? Because you say we have to share our journey, because personal branding can be illustrated many times through telling stories, like I've said. So as young people, how can we craft that narrative that reflects who we are as we are sharing our stories and what we stand for? Ms. Tanaka, I'm still with you.
All right. Thank you. So I think you can have a good story and you don't know how to tell it to people. There are people who are good at what they do, but when it comes to talking about it or telling people about it, they struggle so much. So you find out that storytelling is everything. As long as you know how to communicate, as long as you know how to get people to understand exactly what you're doing, then it makes sense. Because people don't remember facts, they remember how you made them feel. Storytelling is all about getting into people's feelings, having them to understand exactly your position, putting them in your shoes so that they understand how you felt. So your story is your powerful I think that's your powerful statute, because if you don't know how to tell it, then people are not going to listen, people are not going to follow up on you. And it helps people to understand where you're coming from, what you've overcome, and why you do what you do. Because if you don't know how to tell it, then people don't understand why you're doing what you're doing and what you've been through, where you're coming from. Because people need to understand Tanaka has walked this journey from here to here. So how can I benefit from her story? Today I was reading this book called Unbreakable. She was talking about her life story, and you find out that you'll be motivated. You want to do more just by reading that book, seeing how she has overcome a lot of obstacles, seeing how she's been successful throughout her journey. And it starts with your background, where you come from and what shaped you, what have you been through, who was there, who was not there, how many challenges have you faced, what did you do to overcome those challenges. And you need to share your turning point. That is the moment that changed how you see life, how you see things in life, because that's the moment that matters. Yes, you have come across a number of challenges. Can you tell us exactly how you overcome those challenges, and how can I learn from the skills that you use to overcome those challenges? Because it's all about being motivated to do more as a person who is listening or who's following up on that story. And you also need to speak on your mission, what you're doing now and why it matters. What pushed you, what really mattered for you to overcome those challenges. So I think storytelling is all about that. You need to share your background, you need to share the turning point, you need to share that is the climax level, and you also need to share the mission where you're at, so that people can grasp the concept that led you to where you are and understand how they can also relate from your story and say, these days I am facing this challenge. I struggle with communication. I struggle with personal branding. How did you do it, Tanaka? Where did you come from? Did you start from this high point, or you had challenges coming through? How did you overcome them? And yeah, I think those are the most important things to talk about when you're storytelling, which is very critical. I think even on social media, how you share your stories, how you share what you're doing is the most important thing, because that's the first thing that people are going to notice and learn from and also understand from you. Thank you so much.
So much, Ms. Tanaka. From what I get from you is that if you don't know how to tell your story, like you always have to find a way of telling your story, because like you said, people won't understand what you're doing or why it even matters in the first place, because stories can be relatable but also motivational most times when we see people sharing their stories. So in the same spirit of storytelling, Miss Juanita, I'm coming to you. I know it's usually tricky most times to know how much to share. I usually see people on LinkedIn. I said I'll give LinkedIn as an example many times. I am thrilled to do this. I am excited. I am happy that I did this. There is a lot of positive energy on LinkedIn. If you're someone of negative energy, I don't think you can handle LinkedIn. Or if you have your problems, you can say people are just bragging. But anyway, you can decide to look at it in a positive way, and you're like, okay, this is amazing. This is something good to look at. So let's go deeper. I want to understand, or me and the audience want to understand, how can we be able to show off to showcase our strengths on LinkedIn or share our stories like we talked about with Ms. Tanaka without really coming off as boastful or bragging?
I like the fact that, thank you again for the question. I think it's one of the questions that I probably feel more connected to. So which is also why I have been teaching people at Mindmenders, young people, how to optimize LinkedIn. So I'd say LinkedIn was or has been or probably continue to be my breakthrough. I think that a lot of opportunities that I have had as a career woman has come through LinkedIn connections and being able to share with the world what I carry, what I can do, and what I have to offer. Now, I have also understood how right now there's a trend with, people talking about how LinkedIn is intimidating, LinkedIn is full of braggarts, LinkedIn is full of people who are not who they say they are. And yes, that may be true, but at the same time, there are also authentic people that are actually doing what they say they're doing on LinkedIn. When I also started LinkedIn, in my head, I just wanted to I didn't know much. I just saw what people were doing. And so I said, oh, okay, if this is what they're doing, let me just go on the train. So I was posting a lot of things. They were all important things, but I think in the beginning I was trying to be over more of an expert when I wasn't an expert yet. Okay. I would share content that would seem like I am the master of it, but I wasn't the master of it yet. So with time, I just took 2 steps back and I said, oh, okay, wait. I might be overselling myself here, not because I'm not capable of getting to the point where I am showing, but because I realized that I needed to take some time to actually progress into that stage and then proudly share it with the world. So I would say a lot of people are truly sharing what they carry, what they're doing, what they've accomplished, but you have to understand that the journey is different from person to person. If you have completed something, I would say LinkedIn is like your resume. Okay. When you connect with people or when people follow you, when we see your credentials or who you say you are, we want to see content that is related to that. Okay. We want to know that you're a thought leader in that area. We want to know that you know stuff in this. Okay. Because sometimes when people connect and they want to come to you for something, they go through your post and then they see that, oh, you do post about SQL, you do post about Excel sheets, you actually give us tips, you actually share journey, you have milestones, you have certificates, you have stuff. LinkedIn is your resume. Okay, so when people are doing that, sometimes when you're sitting at the back, you think that this person is like showing off, they're telling us everything they're doing. No, people are very strategic with LinkedIn. People literally put it there so that when they reach out to companies and organizations and vice presidents and CEOs, and then they view their profile, they are able to put 2 and 2 together and understand that this person is actually good in this area. Because this person has been doing this, has done that, has done this, has done that. So though some people are bragging with it, I think you should understand that people are actually telling their stories through that. Okay. I'm not the type to say that somebody's doing too much. Not at all. I'm not in their shoes. I don't know what they're after. I don't know where they see themselves. And I don't know the type of people that they are approaching. Okay. If I am a type of person that I approach big people. I'm never shameful or shy or intimidated to text probably the CEO of probably Apple or whoever and say, hey, this is me, this is what I do, I want this opportunity with you, okay? People do that. And for you to reach some people, you need to have what it takes. You need to have the skill sets. We need to know who you are without talking to you. I need to come to your page and see your resume, your work experience, and everything before I come to you, okay? Now, the distinction between self-promoting, I'll say that is self-promotion, like self-promoting and bragging. Now, it's easy. Sometimes people, we share our accomplishments like, oh, I'm the best at this. I don't even think people say that nowadays. There might be other creative ways to say that. But bragging could be like, oh, I'm the best in this area. I came up the top, blah, 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 blah. I'm the best. I know how to do ever since I started. I've always been the best. It's like it lacks humility. It's pride and overconfidence. Confidence is great. Pride is good. okay? But when it lacks humility, that is what makes it bragging, okay? But when you're self-promoting, you can feel a blend of this person is humble, but this person knows who he or she is. This person knows what she or he carries. This person is telling us confidently that they can do this and they will deliver. Okay, so for LinkedIn is a whole topic on its own, but if you are somebody that you want to flourish, use it wisely. You can talk about things that are related to what you want people to know about you. You don't have to go and play the PTD party role so that people will come and look for you because, sorry to say, you were the youngest in your family, you've never had money. You can say that story, but if everything you post about comes from that story, now you're literally looking for pity, okay? Unless your service is built on that story, okay? Now, if your service or your skills are not built from that story, then, you understand what I'm trying to say. But if it's built from that story, maybe you teach young women about defilement and all of those things, it's okay to bring it in here and there, okay? That's not enough storytelling. That is you reflecting, okay, and letting people understand that you know where they are coming from and you feel that too. So there's a limit between oversharing and then self-promotion. But I don't know if the time I have will be enough for me to go through everything. But if you're on LinkedIn, use it well. People are using it very well. Connect with the people in your areas. Let them find something on your page when they are looking to know why you're reaching out to them. If there's nothing there, it might be very, very hard for them to even take their time off to reach out. So it's not everybody that's posting is just posting to brag. They're being very strategic. So you can be that too. And that's what I can say about it.
Yeah, strategic indeed, because, but anyway, sometimes I think as long as you're authentic, just like we've been talking about, because there is someone I know in person who calls themselves a strategist on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, but anyway, strategic. That's how we can, let's leave it at that. Before I let you go, I would like to hear from you, from your experience. What are the common pitfalls or mistakes that you, in personal branding, that me and everyone who is listening or watching can avoid?
I think following the trends, I think it's something that we said throughout the beginning. The people that you follow their trends, followed their passion, and they became the trendsetters. So you following the trend was from someone's purpose or someone's true identity, and it became the norm, and then it became a trend. Sometimes people fall out of what they see themselves as capable of doing or what they want to do. And then they just end up copying other people because they want to be like them. They want to live like them. They want people to respect them. They want people to like them. It's very hard to stay who you are, especially when you believe it's good, you believe it's important, you believe it can help others, and you are not getting recognition for it. It's very hard for you to stay consistent in that, especially when other people are probably doing lesser than that and they are getting all the things that you hope to get. I am also a Christian, so I will probably stick by what Tanaka said. You have to be very, very prayerful if you are. If you're a Muslim, you can also be very, very prayerful as well. You don't have to wait for people to tell you you're doing amazing before you know you're doing amazing. As long as it aligns with your core values and it makes you feel good, you are doing amazing. Even if you are not getting recognition for it, you are doing amazing. Just stay consistent. The right people will find you and they will like what you do. They will appreciate it. If a group of people that you admire do not like what you have, it's fine. It will amaze you that another group will admire it and praise it way more than you expected. So it's only a matter of time until you fall into the right environment and the right circle and connect with the right people who will let you see that they see you for what you carry. So be patient, Be consistent, never stop, and be open to learn. Like Mr. Naka said, you have to understand that nowadays, the modern age, things are changing. Even on social media, how you communicate what you have changes. So while you are figuring it out, learn and see how people are able to share their stories. People are finding ways to share their skills, and be creative with that and explore many things. If you want to learn how to be a creative designer, use Canva. You never know what you carry until you tap into something. Don't restrict yourself to, oh, I'm only interested in this, so I want to stick to that. No, be open. You don't even know that you have something in you until you tap into that. And if you fail at something, it's perfectly fine. Not everything that we did succeeded at the first attempt. I have started 4 businesses. It failed. And I'm still pushing because, yes, it failed, but I learned from that. So I'm going to keep pushing until I die. I'm probably never going to stop trying new things. So be open to trying new things. Don't be constricted. And talk to people. Talk to people, journal, write your thoughts, write what you feel, write your dreams, put it in writing. Like the Bible says, put it in writing. It will come to pass. And then that would probably be everything. I say there's an app that I want everybody to use. I use it all the time. It's called Future Me. I write letters from my past self to my future self. I can write a letter. Right now I have letters waiting that I will receive in my email that I wrote in 2024 or 2023 somewhere. And sometimes I use it as reminders. I use it as motivation. I use it as something to tell me in the future. Try different things. There's so many things in the world that you can use to motivate yourself. And after that, you'll be able to understand that people will see you for who you are and what you carry.
I'm not adding anything to that. I think it's very powerful. Ms. Tanaka, I want to come to you with these last 2 questions, or one. We've talked a lot about personal branding on social media, but we all know that it's not only on social media. Like Ms. Juanita said, that it's what people know about you when you're not in the room. But this is both offline and online. But in Africa, there is a big or huge digital divide that we are yet to bridge. And you find that not everyone has access to these social media platforms, but how can they be able to build a brand offline? So, Ms. Tanaka, like I said, you know that access to these platforms can sometimes be unequal, or actually there are people who don't even have internet at all. But also, we know that you mentioned something before, we said that in Zimbabwe, internet access is quite not very good. So what is that practical advice you would give to someone or a youth out there, especially in those underserved areas or those areas that don't have access to internet or social media platforms? How can they be able to build their brand with the limited resources that they have?
All right. Thank you so much, Mary. So maybe just to add on what Juanita was saying before I get into the question, I think when it comes to personal branding, you need to be unique. I know people have got role models that they follow, but you don't have to be someone. You don't have to imitate exactly what someone else is doing. You need to be unique. You need to create your own personal branding. And then going to your question, I think you don't need a big stage to make a big impact. For example, let's say you don't have internet, you're in the rurals. You can start in your own community. You can start in your own rural. Make those community groups, discuss your issues, help those who need help, and you're going to be noticed from that small community of yours. It doesn't have to be only on social media. It doesn't have to be on a big stage. Where you are, you can make an impact. Where you are, you can practice your purpose there. So I think you need to use what you have. I believe that a lot of people have got cell phones nowadays. They've got WhatsApp. Use that WhatsApp to build your brand. Nowadays, there's what we call WhatsApp channel. Create your own WhatsApp channel and just be there. And like what you were saying, sometimes when you're trying to create your brand, you find out that people don't really follow up on it, or you only have 1 like, 2 likes. I used to have, yeah, I still do, where you post things that matters or things that make sense, but people don't really care about it and they don't follow. And at times people tend to lose hope and and then they give up. But you just need to keep going. You need to keep pushing, no matter if you have one like or even if you don't have any like, because what matters is you're pushing your purpose and you're helping someone who is out there. And the other thing that we talked about is being consistent. You need to be consistent. Once you start, don't stop. Keep going. You don't have to give up because people are saying what they are saying, because the community is always going to say what they want. But that doesn't have to stop you from what you're doing. Be consistent, and consistent is key in whatever you're doing. You don't need to stop doing it. You don't need to be pushed. You just have to be self-driven and do what you are purposed to do. And then the other thing is, let's say you don't have access to a number of opportunities, you can collaborate. Find people in your own community that share the same vision as yours, people that want to do things that are similar to what you're doing, and collaborate and see how you can make a huge impact from your own community. And I think people, like what I was explaining, people who want to get paid, young people need money. So then they end up saying there is no space because there is no money, of which I can say you need to serve first before you expect to get anything. So you need to volunteer. Spaces to volunteer are there. You don't need to be what can I say, to put much effort into it, like what you do when you need money. Volunteering spaces are everywhere. You need to volunteer, you need to be out there, you need to practice your purpose without being paid. Because the problem that people keep on saying Africa opportunities are limited is because they're expecting something in return. They're expecting money, of which it's not always supposed to be like that. You need to serve first, you need to volunteer, you need to build it up, and it's going to pay you in the future. And like what we have explained, you need to tell your story. If you are at home there sitting with your own passion, with your story, no one is going to know. Talk about it, tell people about it, help people, one, two, three people that you help, so that they know exactly what you're doing, what you are passionate about. Because if you keep quiet and expect people to know that, wow, Tanaka is passionate about women, when I don't talk about it, when I don't help anyone, then no one is going to notice. So those are the things that I would say we need to do as Africans. Let's learn to create our own spaces, because you don't have to be reserved a seat at the table. Create the space yourself, and people are going to notice you. People are going to say, wow, I've noticed that you're doing 1, 2, 3 in this community. I saw your social media doing 1, 2, 3. Please come and join us. You don't need to start from where people are. You can start on your own, build from zero, and you get where you want to get. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tanaka. We don't have to wait for us to be called to get a seat at the table. Sometimes we just have to create the table. I heard Tyler Perry saying, because if you create that table, the Lord who made you will prepare it for you in the presence of your enemies. So thank you so much, Ms. Tanaka. And before we let you go, I think our time is up, and I would like to hear from you. What are your last words of advice for someone who is starting out on their personal branding journey?
I would say let's focus on things that matters as young people, or as young women, because nowadays people are being drawn away by things that are worldly, things that don't matter. And kindly know that what you post on social media is not forgotten, because a number of people end up not getting jobs or not getting employed because of what they have been posting on their Instagram, on their Facebook page, and not knowing that they are actually branding themselves. Because let's say I've applied for a job, they are going to look me up on social media and say, oh, she has applied, what does she do? And then they find half naked pictures of me. What does that say about my brand? So I would just say to young people, let's not just post for the sake of posting. You need to post things that speak to your brand. You need to post things that when someone says, I want to work with you, you are not shy, or you're not embarrassed of yourself. So those are my last words. Be intentional about what you post on social media, because it's always going to be there and it's not going to be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Miss Juanita, your last words?
I don't even think I want to add anything to what she's saying. I'm really, really happy she said that, because I think it got to a point I had to do an reflection myself with my social media, because I think I have as a person, I've gone through a lot of phases to get here. I was into this and I was into that, and now I'm here. I think for some time now I had to filter. So if you're a young person, you should try and filter the followers, the thing that you follow, the content you're consuming, especially if you spend a lot of time on social media. I think I always go through my following list, and then I check if there's content that I'm following that doesn't really align with who I am and what I want to learn and what I want to know and what I want to be involved in. I try to unfollow that. Okay. And then I follow content that I feel like would inspire me, will feed me with what I want to be fed with, whether it's Christian, whether it's motivation, whether it's people who are doing what I want to do in the future, or whether it's something, the skill I want to learn. So you always have to filter those things out. Social media is for others to show you what they do, so you consume it. So if you're consuming unnecessary stuff, I don't know what that would be for you, but I would say that. And also, secondly, what Mr. Naka said, what you share, maybe, for example, you say that you're someone that you're very prestige, or you want to be seen as authentic, or I don't know, humble, or I don't know, graceful, decent. Maybe inside of you are, okay? But people don't really, all the 1,000 followers might not have time to spend with you to actually see it, to actually sit down with you and talk to you, to know that, oh, you're actually a very nice person. Oh, you're actually a very decent person. What we see, we will make a message out of it. So like she said, if you're posting certain content that it's not really who you are, but you're just doing it because, it's probably nice or it's trending and stuff, take that off. I did that myself. I think I scraped my whole Instagram and I started feeding it with things that I felt more aligned to. It felt like this is actually who I am. This is who I want people to know I am, whether I'm online or not. This is what I want people to understand about me. So it's never too late. You can start today, tomorrow, next week. Check what you're posting. Because she said it's a brand. That is you. That is who you're telling us you are. We will not ask you. We will make meaning out of what you're telling us or what you're showing us. Check what you're posting. Check the content you are probably consuming, and then understand who you are before you probably share content or before you actually tell us. So just do some digging, do some cleaning, do some unfollowing, do some following. Clean up your space, basically what I'm gonna say. And it's gonna make it very easy for you to understand your brand and what you carry. So it's basically just an addition to what she said. People will not come and ask you. We will make meaning from what we are seeing. So show us something that you believe reflects who you truly are.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I don't really want to dilute what you have said and what Mr. Naka has said, but I'd like us to end here. And as we conclude this dialogue, I'd like to I'll give my heartfelt thanks to our amazing, beautiful panelists, Miss Juanita Jamfi and Miss Tanaka Mugova, for sparing your time. For sure, it was really inspirational and insightful. I've personally learned a lot. And just to sum it up, we said that personal branding is not about being popular, but also being purposeful. You need to show up authentically, clearly, consistently, but with a clear sense of who you are and what you stand for. So to everyone who is listening and everyone who has watched us on YouTube, you don't have to be everything for everybody, but just be true to yourself, and that is the most powerful brand you can ever build. So please, now I want to strategically push our personal brands. Follow Miss Juanita Jamfi on LinkedIn, Instagram, and the other social media platforms that she is on. Follow Miss Tanaka Mugova on all the social media platforms. Follow me also at Mary Joyce Takali on all social media platforms. And the African Young Leaders Foundation will always be here to push the young people so that they can be greater people and make impact for Africa. Thank you all for joining us, and until next time, keep building with purpose. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Mary.